Welcome back to another episode of Scryer's Room. I am your host, Famfare.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Mario.
And hi, I'm Robert.
We have Rob tonight, and we're going to go into a source material or subject material that he is basically an expert in. And that would happen to be Runescape.
I don't know shit about RuneScape.
There are a lot of people that know more about RuneScape than me, man. There are people out there that
Which is frightening.
That style.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
There are people out there who style on that shit and who can tell you
they have a doctorate in
RuneScape.
RuneScape.
That no in and out Okay, well, I would need to explain a lot to explain why it's impressive. Let's start from the beginning.
Start from the beginning. How does RuneScape work? You have classes?
Okay, no. So, RuneScape
you grind.
is... Yeah.
That's it.
Do you know... Remember from high school biology, the different kinds of evolution that they taught you about?
Yeah.
There's a kind of evolution where, these two things are shaped the same because they come from a common ancestor.
Right.
So that's why,
they're related,
and
that's why...
are the same.
Yeah.
And there's, these two things are the same because that's the shape that works.
Yeah, that's convergent evolution.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Convergent and divergent evolution, maybe?
Yeah. Because one diverges from a common ancestor, one ends up at the same place for different reasons.
Yeah, there you go. I'm glad you knew that.
Yeah.
Do you know the game Cookie Clicker?
Yeah.
Okay, so RuneScape is like Cookie Clicker, but it evolved from an entirely different ancestor.
That's a good analogy.
So RuneScape is a really old thing. It was made in the early 2000s by some British guys, 3 British brothers, made this game because they liked multiplayer stuff. They had a multi-user dungeon before that, which is a really old internet thing where nerds would play pen and paper games together on the internet.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly clear on that myself. But RuneScape was just a very simple thing. There were definitely... At first there were classes, but the classes really just affected your starting stats. It wasn't actually
It doesn't affect where you end up.
It doesn't affect what you can do. Yeah, you can always do everything. And at this point, the game has been in active development for 25 years, maybe more. And so everything encompasses quite a wide variety of topics. But broadly, what you do in RuneScape is either skilling, which is grinding, a non-combat thing.
Right.
You go and you click a rock, you get the ore out of the rock. You keep doing that, you get better at clicking rocks. Eventually you can click the rock and get that faster.
I can click a rock so hard that I get the best rocks out of it.
And you can use better equipment, and then, maybe if you're really good, you can get the magical pickaxe that not only mines the rock, but smelts it into a bar that you can use. That's a whole other thing. We'll get into that.
That's a pretty good pickaxe.
I think they have that. I think it does that.
You're just describing what I imagine to be the rock MMO.
Yeah, it's very...
RuneScape is, as far... We touched upon this in a previous episode. As for all intents and purposes, I consider RuneScape to be the rock MMO. No, actually, sorry, that's EverQuest.
Well, it's got some things about it that are very rock MMO.
Yeah.
One of the things... They still have this in the game as a holdover by way of example. One of the early anti-botting methods was a thing called a random event. Where, okay, you're mining... And then suddenly, that rock is a smoldering rock. Watch out, and if you click the smoldering rock, it'll explode and knock the head off your pickaxe and send your pickaxe head flying, and you have to go pick it up. Because in a minute or some short amount of time, that'll be visible to other players, and they will go pick it up if you don't. So you have to pick it up, and then you have to either put it back on, or... excuse me. Maybe you have to go pay the axe smith NPC to put the pickaxe back together.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And those got silly, there's the genie, and the genie gives you a lamp that gives you an XP bonus. But if you don't click the genie and interact with him, he will scatter all of your inventory all over the area around you. Or some of them will just straight up attack you. If you're fighting chickens, because chickens were a common thing to grind on, the evil chicken would show up and just start fucking your shit up. And you have to fight him.
Oh, man.
And that includes, the tree spirit comes to protect trees. So if you're just in, I don't have my armor on, I'm chopping trees. Go get your armor. The tree spirit's coming. He's gonna kick your ass. And
you gotta keep your armor. What are you, crazy out here, lumberjacking in a t-shirt?
And there are common areas where, if people who played back in the day remember, someone died here, I got to pick up their shit. That was definitely a thing back in the day when that was more common. These days, if you die to an NPC, you don't lose your shit. It goes to a gravestone or something. But back then, especially
in the heartless days,
my Windows 98 running computer just fucked up. Oh, I'm out of my shit. It's gone. I'm dead.
It's gone.
Yeah.
Start over.
I love how many old shows and cartoons that we had growing up, like Mission Hill or whatever. and they like describe like these online games and like the stakes are so much higher than like anything I ever played. Because I'm a Warcraft baby.
Yeah.
Warcraft was famous for being such a forgiving MMO.
You don't even lose your shit when it breaks.
You can't lose at WoW. If you're bad at WoW, it just takes you longer to do that.
Yeah. Or you like it's a gold.
You can't actually lose.
Yeah, there's a gold.
You can
set.
lose at fucking RuneScape.
You can definitely lose at RuneScape.
For example,
Anyway,
by beating RuneScape.
Anyway, the game works on a system that they call ticks, which is every 0.0 seconds it polls the server. And so people have taken... That is the foundation of... People have taken that to crazy levels. They figured out if you only have 5 hit points, you can only take 5 hit points of damage. The game caps you at 5. You can't go in... It won't give you like a 95, negative 90. It won't do that.
Right.
So if you only have 5 hit points... And the second damage comes in, you like eat like a small thing, or like so like there's like a one of the only infinitely stackable foods, because in RuneScape you have 28 inventory items or inventory slots, and the meta is all defined about like how long can I stay at this boss, farming this boss on one inventory, that kind of thing. Or once you're like, I need to take this guy on for the first time, I only have X inventory slots of potions and food. How can I do this? One of the only stackable foods is the increasingly rare and valuable purple sweets, which heal you for like a tiny bit of HP. It's a candy. It heals you for a little bit.
But if you're fast enough...
But if you have a tiny amount of HP to begin with, because you let your HP to get down to 3, anytime damage comes in, if you just eat the sweets on the same game tick, it'll go, okay, damage down to 0, heal back up to 3. You're good.
Right.
And so people have beaten, like, the raids. People have beaten the raid content, like, on a level 1 guy, just by...
Having candy.
Having candy and, like, stabbing the boss with, like, a poison dagger until the poison hits, and then just tanking until the thing falls over.
Good lord.
Yeah.
Click tanking, too.
Yeah.
Not even, like...
People go nuts on that game. Or, like, they figured out that some actions take 2 ticks, and some actions take 4 ticks. So it's like, if you can make, like... wood cutting is like 4 ticks. It only actually cuts the wood every 2.4 seconds. But if you cancel your wood cutting by, like... being hit by a bird that you aggroed, or like using some, like clicking your inventory, some tar onto an herb or something, doing some kind of other action that's shorter than that, you can supersede the 2.4 seconds and make it 1.2 seconds. And so you can be woodcutting twice as fast as someone who is just doing it. And people go insane on that game, man.
That's so fucking extra. I'm like, not doing that.
At the highest level,
this isn't a game.
At the highest level, people will be like doing this kind of, you know, the game Osu.
Yeah.
Where you like...
It's like a rhythm game.
It's a rhythm game where you're like moving your mouse around to click dots like to anime music usually.
Yeah.
People are doing that where they have their little 28 inventory grid of however many that is, 4 by 7.
Yeah.
I suck at math.
I didn't even try.
Your 4 by 7 inventory grid, and in that grid you have some tar, and you have like an herb for potion making, and making herb tar is a thing you can do. So you like click the herb onto the tar, but you cancel that out with the fishing. Or the other way around, you cancel the fishing, and then you catch a fish, but it's a special kind of fish because you're a barbarian fish, and so you caught it with a barbarian fly rod by the barbarian village, and that enables you to like, you can cut that fish open to get the caviar out for like cooking experience.
Okay.
And then you like drop the fish, and then you like combine the caviar with the potion to like finish the potion, then you drop the potion, and so you're just sitting there like doing this like whirlwind of activities, like training your potion making and your fishing and your cooking and your fighting, like all at once, just sitting there clicking this ever shifting inventory thing, and that's how we get to efficient hours played. People are so insane on RuneScape now that like the way that people talk about the game now is an EHP.
You're not playing the fucking game.
I haven't heard fun come up once.
Yeah. It's fun when I win. So efficient hours played are where they look at like what's the maximum amount of XP you can gain per hour doing this activity. If you are what they call tick perfect, you don't fuck up any of your clicks for a whole hour. What's the max XP you can earn? And an efficient hour played is 1 hour spent at that rate, not fucking up even the slightest bit, with all of your little 0.6 second clicks for a whole hour. And people have gotten that down to like ridiculous levels, and like people are like, oh, this is 0 time. The new thing is like, one of the things you can do in RuneScape is alchemy. You can use a couple of runes to convert an item directly into gold. Okay. And so people will you can do that on the banknotes that you trade for an item as well. Banknotes are stackable. Okay. And so you have a banknote of certain items in the game will always be at their alc price because they're good XP to train your crafting or whatever. So like certain kinds of
it's in everyone's interest.
Dragonhide armor is constantly being Dragonhide armor is constantly being made, constantly being poured into the game.
Right.
And so it's often so cheap, it's cheaper than its alc value, and so you can buy surplus Dragonhide armor stacks from players.
Right.
And
then juice it into gold.
Exactly. It's not like a huge profit per item, but it is a profit even when you account for the cost of the runes to cast the spell.
Right.
So most of the time, whenever you're doing anything in the game, the expectation is like if you're a good player, quote unquote, at RuneScape, you're doing other stuff too. Like when you're running around, you're just hitting alchemy over and over again while you run, or like you're like cutting wood into arrow shafts, or putting arrow tips or feathers on arrow shafts while you run constantly. You're constantly doing stuff because you want to get that 0 time XP. That 0 time XP is like, that's how you get multiple EHPs in 1 hour. You're not just you're getting the max XP for multiple things at once.
So even the most efficient hour played isn't the most efficient hour played.
You're doing the thing, man. You're stealing time like to get all the XP, all the 0 time stuff you can get. And people have gotten it down to like, I can get my RuneScape character to max all skills in 800 hours, which leads me to my point.
Right.
All of this is in favor of. So let me preface this with, this is not the hottest take. This is probably a fairly lukewarm take, which is that is not the point of the game.
Right.
I think I'm not breaking any new ground by saying that.
No.
And the real problem with RuneScape, if there is a problem with RuneScape, is that it's been sold multiple times to different investment firms. Who are shaving a little bit more off the edges every time.
They don't know how to make it profitable. They don't know how to streamline it. They're just trying.
Right, exactly. But so many people are playing the game now for the wrong. They want the game to be something other than it is, to the detriment of the game.
Right.
People are completing the game to finish the game, which is not supposed to be finishable. Like that's the point. Like
the XP curve is like exponential.
Yeah. The point was, this will keep them busy while I figure this out.
Right.
The point of RuneScape isn't to climb over the wall to get to the other side, because there's nothing on the other side.
Right, it's just climbing the wall.
The point of RuneScape was climbing the wall with the homies and talking to them. And somewhere along the way, I don't know. It's not
falling over into the abyss became the goal.
Yeah, that's well said. Yeah, and
I'm free.
You can't just blame the players for this. You can't just blame RuneScape for this. It was like a nature. This is how video games have changed in the last 25 years.
Yeah.
This is where we get into that evolution I was talking about earlier. Like, it's not interesting to people anymore. Look, those are players. Isn't that cool? If you're young, you may not even know what I'm talking about. Back when I was a child...
It's harder to find a video game where there aren't other fucking people fucking up your good time.
That's an excellent point.
When I was a child... Wow! All of those people are players? That's crazy.
Yeah, that was mind-blowing.
I've never seen anything like that before. And obviously, there's like Ultima that came before. Like I know now that there's other things, but like I didn't know about that. And so for me, seeing all that was crazy. And that was the point of the game. And now it's still a popular game, but that's not really why people play anymore. Or that's not why. One of the jokes is there's no talking. And people use. Like a mod client that's very popular. That's like most of the people play with the mod client.
Right.
And one of the plugins in the mod client is the player hider, where you tick a box and it hides all of the fucking everyone, hides all the other models. You can't even see them anymore. It stops rendering them. Yeah. Like a lot of people play like that.
So he's responding to my jaw dropping because that's... What do you mean?
Yeah, so people aren't playing it.
The game doesn't have like a compelling storyline.
No. So it does have quests, and the quests are silly and funny. I guess as an aside, I'll spend 90 seconds talking about the quests.
Yeah.
Initially, the quests were all designed by, like, interns. So, like, a lot of them are just, like, silly, and, like, there's a guy who has a YouTube series right now where he just tries to go through the quest with no guides or anything like that. And some of them are just so lacking in logic that it's like... And the point of the quest is, it's not supposed to be solvable by yourself. You're supposed to talk with the people. But obviously, the point of his series is he can't. And so without being able to talk to other players and learn stuff, you're not logical. It's not solvable. It's because it's Like an 18-year-old kid made these.
Right. This isn't because like we thought about like, okay, well there's these mobs over here. We can give them an objective to go see this thing. Like the quests weren't designed to show you like a different part of the game that they designed, and they're like, oh, we can put an objective over here, and that'll get them into the bandit camp.
Right.
It was
show them the
designed.
bandit camp.
It was like, Keith, what do you think that the players should do? And Keith's like, I don't know, collect ducks.
Yeah. Don't go over there and don't bother us for a couple of days. Come back with a quest.
Yeah. God.
Yeah. And that's somewhere along the line, now that that's like it's a game that adults play and not, click the cookie for children.
Yeah.
It's like an actual, they had to stitch those threads into like kind of a few different storylines. And I mean, like, now that I say this, I was going to say people are genuinely hyped. I am genuinely hyped. The only time I log back into RuneScape is when the new quests come out.
Really?
So that's like a thing. That's like they have somehow parlayed Keith go make the thing into something I care about.
That's awesome.
That is much better news than the alternative, because,
Yeah.
I mean, like, we've figured out already, like, there are games that have, like, infinitely repeatable quests where they're like, oh, go fight this mob in this area.
And it's nothing.
Yeah.
It's literally nothing. It's procedural generation slop.
Yeah. But, like, if there were quests designed essentially by idiots who've never played the game, people like me, and it's like, I don't know, go get the red dragon armor set and bring it to me. That's just a fully obtainable thing now.
Yeah. No, and then, like, some of those are, like, a guy made, like, 4 that he didn't even finish, and then someone put those together with, like, a little Egyptian theming, and that became Desert Treasure, where you get the ancient magic. And it's one of the most iconic and powerful things, blah, 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 blah. And that was just something some jack, like a kid made that.
You didn't even finish it.
Yeah.
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 Wow. Mm-hmm. RuneScape's development sounds like you get the sense of a lot of games like they have planned branches of development. Like if Overwatch did better in a way that made them think PvE would like sell more than just a PvP focus, I bet they would have actually made like the PvE content instead of lying about making it for 2 like sequel games now. They're never going to make PvE Overwatch. The sooner we all get past that, the better. But like RuneScape, there's no skeleton there.
I mean, PvE Overwatch was in development since, like, Wrath of the Lich King when they split off after Ulduar, right? Like,
Yeah.
the people who originally started working on
Titan,
that,
yeah.
the people who originally started working on that either don't work for Blizzard anymore,
They died of old age.
or are dead.
Yeah, one of the stories of Titan is that one of the reasons the game failed is that, like, they basically made, like, Photoshop within Titan. There was, like, a whole photography profession that was so involved and, like, well-rounded out.
But the combat wasn't fun.
But that's the thing. Some teams spent all the time doing Photoshop in Titan instead of making Titan.
Yeah.
Apparently,
Man,
that was
so
endemic to the problem.
this-
They gave all their developers like an open slate. Do whatever you want. It's the Lucas problem.
Yeah.
We trust you guys. You're obviously the shit. So do whatever you want. No
George
rules.
Lucas
And they
made Star
Photoshop.
Wars.
I may have gone too far in some places.
Like, okay, so this is a genuine problem I have with video games and, like, the disappointing way. We were talking just ourselves about, like, oh, some of the Fallout games, like, have, like, worse combat than the others, and, like, it just doesn't feel very good in this place. We've made the good video games already. We know which ones work and feel good. Mm-hmm. How is that, like, still a thing that we have where it's like, oh, this shooter is, like, the world is a lot of fun, but shooting, like, the actual way that you engage with the game isn't the fun part? What do you mean? We already figured it out. How do you fumble that?
Yeah, I don't
Well, I
know,
mean, you
man.
know, it's not like...
Just
like,
port it over.
The code doesn't go like, okay, I finished this thing. I saw it open source now. It doesn't go into a repository.
Right, no, but you can just, like, know, like, okay, I don't have the exact, like, mathematics of their physics engine to say that, like, okay, so this kind of feedback on this gun is exactly these numbers, but you can eyeball it. You can get close.
Yeah. That's one of the things that
One of the fun things about like this is specifically with graphics though.
Right.
I know they use the Source Filmmaker has like
Yeah.
advanced 3D models like a shit ton.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of like the physics they use for like certain like boob jiggle physics they use like I think specifically one of like the titty jiggles, one of the ass jiggles they got from like a dragonfly's wings. And that, I just find that fascinating.
I never heard that.
As far as like swapping notes and like the industry progressing on a horizontal like progression, it's like little things like that, like where. Well, that would be vertical progression is the joke. Horizontal would be...
Horizontal's fucking. That's sideways.
Yeah, true, fair enough. But yeah, no, yeah, the...
I'm so dumb. I'm sorry.
Yeah, apparently, like, yeah, a lot of, like, interesting... Like, someone makes a thing, and then someone innovates that thing to make a different thing, and then based off of that thing is now easier to do.
Right.
I think Kevin means that being applied to, like, okay, I didn't know you could do that, now we know we can just steal that. But they still have to, like, yeah, I guess you can eyeball it. But
yeah.
I don't know coding well enough, but I understand fundamentally what do you...
Not to keep the off topic going, but I can tie this back into
Yes.
Runescape eventually, so just bear with me for a second.
Yes.
Something that I've been saying for a while, and I'm sure you guys have heard me say this before, is, like, there really does seem to be a lack of central planning in some of these long-running games to their detriment. Like, it seems like I see a lot of these games going in circles over a period of years, and because they're like, I guess the company, for one reason or another, people don't stay at the company, which probably means they're not good to work for, and so there isn't like an institute. One of the reasons that Baldur's Gate 3 is so good is because Larian Studios has been practicing at making Baldur's Gate 3 for like a long time. They've basically been making pre-Baldur's Gate 3 for a long
They have people
time.
there who have made their careers off of almost making Baldur's Gate 3 a bunch of times.
Exactly. So and Larian is weird because they retain employees somehow. So, like at these big companies, at your Blizzards, at your Riot Games, League of Legends, you just see them spinning their wheels, going around in the circle, solving the same problems, quote unquote, solving the same problems over and over again, because no one's there that's been there for 20 years to know.
Actually learn it.
Yeah, no one's learned anything, and that's one of the things about RuneScape is that that's okay.
Right.
What that's we've left, like, not everything in RuneScape matters. Like, it's not like this is what you need to do, bro. Everyone is doing Sorceress's Garden, bro. Everyone is doing Gnome Ball, bro. Well, that doesn't. Nobody's doing those things, but they're there. You could do them if you want to do them. The game is just so wide. Like, it has areas of considerable depth, but it also just has... Imagine if World of Warcraft didn't section off their development into, like, okay, we're going to a new continent, we're making the old continents. Imagine if it just kind of got built out to the sides forever, for 25 years. That's what RuneScape is. That's what's cool about it.
RuneScape, to me, strikes me as, like, a kind of development and, like, gamer relationship where the players are less, like... Being like I've talked about this before, where like a lot of games, what they are is an amusement park, and you're supposed to go to each ride. This feels more like you've been abandoned in the woods by an uncaring god. He has given you bountiful gifts, but he is an uncaring and faraway thing. Do whatever you want.
Oh, but there are roller coasters in the woods too.
Okay, all right, yeah.
But there's certainly no paths between them that are lined with drink carts and helpful employees. No.
Yeah, all I ever did in the game was mine and Smith.
Right, exactly. And that's so...
That sounds like a terrible time.
There's actually... one of the things that's gotten me inspired to say this is some kind of private server came out recently that's... people are calling it 2004 Scape, which is like an even older version of the game that people are replicating, and they're doing all this like archaeology type shit where like I think that someone found some music from like a Lithuanian gaming magazine, I'm not making that up, demo CD recently.
What?
And, like, I think like people are going through like videos of like unregistered Hypercam 2 videos from pre-YouTube times and showing like, look, you can see in this video that here's proof that this mechanic worked this way in 2004. So they make it like that based on and like in the update post they will link to that video and be like, here's our proof it was like that, so we changed it.
Oh man.
Yeah, they're crazy over there. It's awesome. It's a really, really cool thing that they're doing over there. And like, if you really want to get some more insights into how the game was when it was old, you can go play on that or watch videos about that, because it's a bunch of like one of the recent updates to that made things clunkier. Oh, like it added clicks.
They want it that way.
So wait,
we like it to be bad.
Like it does like the old mining animation where you just like swing the thing. You know, it was a big deal when it got updated, and then you actually did like a motion instead of just like you just he would just swing it like like
with his wrists.
Yeah, and it was very goofy looking, and they made it more realistic. And it was like, oh,
and it takes a lot longer now. I bet.
If anything, it's probably faster.
Really,
that's the direction the game is trended in, and that's the core of what I'm talking about here. Is I'm not gonna hit you with like they're making it too easy, bro. They're ruining the game, brother. Because that's not the point of what I'm saying.
Right.
But
they're ruining the game not by making it easy, but by like sacrificing the parts of the game that make it the game.
Right, exactly. The point of the game is not to finish it. Like you're not supposed to be able to complete all of the boss drops. You're supposed, if you're lucky, you do something and you get enough money to get one of those from another player. That is the point. The point, like the original core of the game, was to force player interactions. That was the point of every MMO. That's the reason MMOs exist.
Right.
And now we've come back around full circle to where from people are neat to people annoy me. And now people are playing these as a single player RPG. And like that's a considerable contingent of the player base is this. I have no idea how many people that log in every day are Iron Man, no trading mode or not. I'd guess it's probably like a third, maybe more, maybe less. I'm honestly pulling that out of my ass. It seems like it's a lot. This part isn't exactly fair. They kind of have a reputation on social media for being like cyclists or CrossFit, like, did you know I'm an Iron Man, bro? Kind of thing. And that's like...
That's hilarious that's like a deep part of the human psyche that exposes itself no matter what crew you're with.
Yeah, that is part of the human condition.
Yeah.
Is that. But
the CrossFit gene.
That's like the core of my rambling here. If you take anything away from my bad opinions and wrong things I've said tonight, is I'm concerned the direction the game is going. I am concerned that more and more development time is being spent to cater to people who like. If you want to play RuneScape and not talk to anyone, that is super cool. You can do what you want. But some of the edges are going to be rough for you.
Right.
And sanding down those edges, some of those edges is where the game is.
Right.
Like you can't sand some of those off. Some of those things need to happen. Maybe it's a little bit inconvenient. Some of the time, it takes some more steps. And there's a difference between like...
The game was sold as a square, not a circle.
Exactly. I'm not saying, well, you should have to punch yourself in the balls every time you click a rock, because I had to my whole time. No one should have to punch themselves in the balls. But somewhere in there is the game. Somewhere in those little...
Right.
Somewhere in that shape, that square,
That's
that circle
why it's
is
an
the
MMO,
game.
Is the massively multiplayer part.
And if you're sanding off all the edges, you risk sanding off part, like the
you
core
lose the
of it.
identity, yeah.
Right.
It's a Ship of Theseus situation almost.
Well said, yeah.
Yeah, no, like that is a endemic problem I see. Well, I guess I'll call it a problem with MMOs of like, the solo player experience, or like everyone thinks they're Kirito from fucking Sword Art. I'm solo player. Like, okay, cool, which is fine.
And the point of RuneScape is that in RuneScape, the thing that separates old school RuneScape from RS3, and people sneer when they say RS3. RS3 is the track that's run the entire time. And RS3 has like monetization, and you can pay money for things, and it's all totally ruined. Nobody likes it. And the thing that the core of RS3, aside from the monetization and the fact that they changed the combat into WoW Light, is that in RuneScape 3, you are the hero of the story. In original RuneScape and RuneScape 2, one of the quests were like the things that have so much charm that the interns made. Most of the time, you are the reason it is fucked up. When things are fucked up in RuneScape, you probably did it.
Right.
You did that. The amount, like, basically every major storyline...
Someone killed all our chickens, please.
Yeah, exactly. When they added a major content patch called the God Wars, which is like out in the PvP area is a cool dungeon with...
sounds pretty sick.
With new bosses.
Yeah.
And they're hard bosses, and they have really powerful gear, and it's still like... To this day, people are farming that. And that came out years ago. The update post said it thawed out of the ice because of all the people training fire making in the city affected the environment and fucked up the ozone layer. And that caused it to heat up, and that's why they thawed out.
That's pretty
That's
sick.
the kind of shit RuneScape was on.
I like that.
In the RuneScape,
I wasn't giving RuneScape the credit it deserves, I guess.
And that's just like a silly update post. But
that has provided more value than all of the lore that I got from, like, the Shadowlands
and they do stuff. They do stuff like cute little things like in the area where they were training fire making. It used to be that there were just ashes all over the ground. So now, to this day, there's a little NPC in that spot who just got out of the broom and sweeps up the ashes. Fun little things like that.
I love that.
Yeah.
That is... That's...
It's a game where the gameplay
conceptually has more charm than a lot of things that... What was the game that existed for like a week?
Concord.
Was Concord? I've never even heard of anything
They've been
about...
failing a lot recently. Which one do you mean?
Yeah. The one
that Sony did?
I guess.
Yes. Yeah,
Concord is the one that recently... That's probably what you're talking about.
Concord is the one I'm talking about.
Concord's
I just didn't know... Yeah. Concord, I don't know anything about it.
Same.
And, like...
Same, brother.
Frankly, like... so much money and, like, time and stuff was spent on that thing to have no, like, impact on anything. Whereas RuneScape... Fucking Keith decided there was a quest line over here in the desert, so now we have this Egyptian-themed thing.
Mm-hmm. And, like, the stuff... Now everything is pulled, everything has to be, like, balanced, and has to, like, routinely...
My Rock MMO wouldn't be.
Routinely, they'll suggest something, and the community will say, well, if you do the calc on this, that'll ruin this, and make this useless, and make this silly, and, like, and all this crazy shit, and the devs will say, oh, okay, our bad, we'll retool it.
That kind of rules.
When Desert Treasure came out in 2005, the reward for it is you replace your regular single target magic and alchemy and teleports with new teleports, new locations, and those locations represent... Those are all the strongholds of the old empire that's crumbled now.
Right.
Or the ancient magic.
Some lore.
It goes to places that used to be cities but aren't anymore.
Right.
But also, all of the spells are AoE and do things like freeze you in place. And so it went from, like, I can shoot a firebolt to that guy to I can walk into a crowd and lock everyone in the crowd in place from running. And it's for like 18 seconds. It's like a disgusting amount of time.
Oh,
sounds like the old world had way better magic.
Yeah. It's like quests back then would just come with, like, it'd come out and completely change the game.
Right.
And the fact that they've parlayed that complete sump of chaos into a cool thing people want to play, and it's not just nostalgia. Some people are for some reason drawn to Cookie Clicker. Some people just like Cookie Clicker. I don't know why that is, but they do. They can't stop cookie clicking.
It's like it's simple to learn, impossible to master kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where it's just
with nothing.
It's a nothing that but it fills up the brain. I bet so smooth.
I remember Brody saying he made like a virtual computer in his computer that was running Cookie Clicker with an auto clicker.
Yeah, because he wanted to finish it.
And it's been running for like months.
Yeah. He wanted to finish it, and like he looked at like the timeline of when he could actually get the Cookie Clicker stuff done, and it was ridiculous unless he constantly ran it on a separate machine. And Brody rules.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, no, but that's RuneScape. That's my rambling. It wasn't cogent. It wasn't in order. But I hope that they keep making RuneScape forever. I hope it lasts. I hope they don't change the game from what it is too much. I think it's cool they add new stuff. Right. But I hope they don't adulterate it too bad. That's all.
Right. I mean, frankly, when I think of like an MMO type thing, I do think that like the platonic ideal of them is the pile that keeps growing. Like it doesn't like start like in World of Warcraft they replaced a bunch of shit with Cataclysm and stuff.
That's a good way of putting it. The pile that keeps growing. I agree.
And like that was cool because that stuff needed updating, but like it feels like we lost a lot from the pile.
You did. They really did.
And RuneScape is just a big pile. Some of the stuff is old and crusty, but it's there.
Yeah.
It's God, it is such a big pile of shit.
Then again, I guess I might be like a kind of consumer that like when I see something is like there's more for me to do, it feels more worth it. Like if I see a game and people are like, "Oh yeah, you finished like the main story in like 4 hours," I'm like, that seems like a lot of money to spend for 4 hours. But then you get to swing around as Spider-Man for like however long you want. Right. But the doing things is like 4 hours. Then again, I'm a tough sell on everything. RuneScape, however, sounds much better. I came into this, by the way, expecting to be like, and did you know that the things that you're passionate about are garbage?
It's so bad. Charming. It's like oozing with charm, and now like if you like, God, if you played for a while, they're like, God, they're so It's great. It's great. Like, you can really tell that the people who actually developed the game, like a good chunk of them at least, really like what they're doing and have passion and give a shit. And it's a shame that they are constantly being jerked around by various different investment firms.
Being sold from like one place that tells them like, okay, well, we have a corporate direction that we need to take this in.
Right, and that's actually why they announced announced and released almost immediately RuneScape Dragon Wilds, which is like a new thing that they put out, which is open world survival crafting early access multiplayer slop. And
PvP Minecraft?
I don't know about PvP. More like Valheim is a more direct comparison, because when I first turned Valheim on, I said, oh, this is just RuneScape.
Right.
And so they've done that. They've reversed that back on them, and now there's RuneScape Valheim. And
we pulled the Uno reverse card on
I think that's a good sign. I'm happy with that. And I don't think I'll ever play that, because that game sounds like shit. That genre is shit.
Right.
Survival games are bad.
Man, one of the things that really bothers me is that, like, we have fully stumbled into the team hero shooter era, where it's, okay, there's 5 of you, and like you each have a theme and power, and like you get to choose between all these characters, and the only version of this game that exists is we put you guys on a map and you just kill each other. Mm-hmm. And I know that Team Fortress 2, like, I think was one of the first to do that and see any success, certainly. But like now it's like it's hard to find anything that doesn't like try to do it a little bit. Mm-hmm. Like Marvel Rivals is huge. Mm-hmm. In a way that I feel that people don't care this much about Marvel characters anymore. Mm-hmm. Like, that's not the selling point. It's because this is just not Overwatch.
Yeah.
And don't get me started on the
people do care about the Marvel characters still.
Yeah.
It's just like the only way you can not the only way. I'm sure there's a billion million cartoons, but the primary way, I should say, people have experienced the brand recently has been some not so excellent movies.
Yeah.
People still like Marvel, they just don't like those movies no more.
Yeah.
And also, there's always something to be said for, like, making the titty monsters.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I wasn't going to say nothing.
No, I knew you were thinking it. I knew you were thinking
yeah,
it.
We were all thinking
dude, well, because, like...
That's why they put it in there, so that we're all thinking about it.
See, you can tell that development of this game is not in America.
Oh, yeah.
And all of its...
Okay, so here's what...
It's an entirely... a workforce of entirely male Chinese dudes. And every character, it's just like, she's 6'4", and she has porn star tits and a big ass. That's the character. She's blonde.
Okay, so my theory is that, like, Disney is huge in Japan, and so I know they do a lot of marketing and catering not catering, but yeah. They do a lot of stuff in tandem with their Japanese.
All the theme park guys say that the Japanese Disneys are the best.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's because over there, people still have, like, a soul.
Yeah.
And so, for now.
But what I'm getting at is that, like, okay, so what's a huge thing in Japan? The hentai market. Like, literally, an anime will come out, and there will be people within corporate that are like, okay, doujinshi artists who wants $1,000, basically.
Yeah.
And then they make porn for that anime as part of the basically additional advertising for that thing. So I think they basically like saw what the Japanese were doing, same fucking business model. Buy our comic books, go jack off the Squirrel Girl, Tony, and guess what? I already did. So
in China they don't have like women's liberation. I mean.
No.
So like
they don't even have the both halves of that word.
Yeah, exactly. So of course, like shit. Of course, they're hot women. Why want to be hot women? We want to sell this.
Yeah. No. Like
we're trying to sell this thing.
There aren't other considerations. What are you talking about? I want to make money.
Some of the ass jiggles are really funny though. It's like, oh, bro, you're really just trying to horn up these teenagers. Like
one thing that I saw that I thought was funny was that like they have 3 of what I see as the same character design, and clearly it's working. Where it's just tall, hot, blonde woman wearing blue and white.
Obviously, those are different characters if you know about comic books. I don't even know what any of them are called. But I'm sure that you guys, between you two specifically, Mario and Kevin, know exactly who they are.
I don't do comics too much.
I do.
See, there you go.
Emma Frost is the new one.
Because I played Squirrel Girl because Squirrel.
She probably is. I'll take your word for it.
She's from the X-Men's.
She's just powerful psychic. She has diamond skin.
Yeah, she has an interesting power set because they're two things that don't really belong together.
They really don't. It doesn't make any sense.
What happened because of Gamma?
Well, you see in the
Rays.
you see the Beyonders and the what the.
Oh man, I have to stop you there.
Yeah, no, it's all nonsense.
It always is.
I mean, so back to video games. So what we're talking about, I feel like that genre has taken over a lot of like the popular like sentiment around video games. I feel like that might be the last genre. We found the last one.
Yeah, I don't know. Like what are the new video games like? Because it really is just Overwatch, right? So you can't call it a new video game.
Right.
It's Overwatch. So like, what's a new video game? Occasionally you have your like little indie darlings, like your streamer baits, like
Elden Ring was a nice little mix up.
That's the thing.
Elden
All
Ring
we
is
have
like
is
the ninth one of those games to come out in a series from the same company.
we get Souls likes
like,
or we get PvP match.
Are you ready for this? You ready for this? Roll slop.
All right.
Oh man.
Okay.
Hot takes.
Them's fighting words.
Hot
Robs.
takes from the Rob, man.
That's what people online are saying, which is a term that I wish I could find out who first came up with that, so I could like
Give him a
shake
medal.
his
I want to
hand.
give them a trophy.
What
Yeah.
an enraging reduction! Like,
Yeah, that's so shitty.
yeah, that's so good.
Roll slop.
But I brought it up because they're about to do the Elden Ring Fortnite.
Oh man.
What did you just say to me?
Elden Ring Night Rain is basically Elden Ring Fortnite.
Yeah, it is.
In what way?
That it's a new game, that it's Elden Ring, but
PvE Elden Ring
with Fortnite mechanics.
Yeah.
That
Well, it's
caused
Battle Royale.
That's one of the Switch
Like
launch titles, or Switch 2 launch
minus the
titles.
building, I assume.
Yeah.
that sickens me. Well, Fortnite has minus the building now.
Oh yeah, but you know
That sickens
original.
me to my core.
People are excited about it. I don't know how to feel about it. I
And
don't
it-
know if I'll
and
get
it-
that.
I hope anyone who loves that loves it, but know that I won't.
People are excited because they've added they changed up the combat. Like you can do like Sekiro shit, like where you do the ninja like double jump like up a ledge or whatever. And so I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not particularly excited, but other people are.
If the selling point of this game is we took all the best mechanics from all of our games and mashed them together, and now you guys can make your action figures fight, I could get behind that. If that's like conceptually what is
Kinda,
being pitched.
yeah.
But at the same time, anything that's a battle royale,
Well, it's also
I
like
just don't have respect for the genre.
it's also you can you team up and you take out the boss. Like
Wait,
you know,
it takes
that-
these
that
studios
sort
so
of
long to turn
thing.
stuff around, right? So like the second Overwatch hit, they started working on that, but it took them 6 years to turn into Concord. Like
right?
I've been talking with one of my friends, my friend Russ, about Barlow. You know Barlow.
Yeah.
I played well with Barlow. He does like writing for video games, so he cares about this stuff. He follows this stuff, and he writes about video games. He doesn't write like stories.
Yeah, he's like a journalist.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah, respect Barlow.
All right, that
And-
changes my next line of questions.
So okay, also, it's important because he's actually a gamer. There are a lot of journalists that are like, I need to brand myself as a certain niche kind of journalist. I'll become a game
no,
journalist.
he's the real
and you
deal.
don't even know how to play video games.
Right.
The Cuphead reviewer guy, you should be ashamed of yourself. Anyway, Barlow plays video games. He actually knows what he's talking about.
I was helping him. He was like, "Want to help me review this FPS?" And that ended up being my favorite game of the year.
There you go.
R.I.P. to Steve Inc.
Oh man, that's what Deceive Inc. was.
R.I.P.
Oh man,
He was like, "Hey man, help me review this game." They helped me to review this game, and it was kind of.
Rob was
first-
mainlining this game for a
at
while. He'd
first
buy
it
it for
didn't-
anyone who he could like even get a trickle of like, maybe you want to try to play Deceive Inc. with me? Just anybody.
And
It's
now
just-
it's over, and the studio is over, and all that. I've been talking with him for a while. Something that he first said to me was, "I cannot believe one of these big AAA studios has not come for a bite of this extraction shooter pie yet." And we're finally starting to see that. That's the same thing that we're talking. It takes them to get like a big multinational behemoth moving. It takes a few years, and making
Yeah.
a game like a big fancy. This game cost $100+ million expensive thing. It takes a few years.
Yeah.
So we're finally seeing
And
people.
very rarely worth it.
Yeah, That's how you get Concord, which is Overwatch but boring and nobody cares.
It's just Overwatch if Overwatch died.
It came out too late, but somehow then you have nobody knows what Concord is. Everybody knows what Spider-Man is, so
Right.
Rivals is a hit. And you have that Marathon is coming out soon to try and take a bite out of Tarkov, which we'll see if that works.
Yeah. We were discussing, earlier that, Tarkov, has a huge part of their audience is the dudes who are like, I have this gun. I want my guy to have this gun. I have this armor. I want my guy to have this armor. And we're going to go kill people in Russia.
It's got some of, the stalker people who like that kind of Russia stuff.
Yeah.
Because, you know what I mean? Ruscore type
Right.
stuff. Like tracksuit and squad and things are shitty.
Yeah.
Like that. You know what I'm talking about. But there's definitely also...
The guy's actually into brutalism.
You're right. There's also that tactical milsim kind of thing going on. I'm not going to call Tarkov realistic, but it has a lot of things in Tarkov,
gritty and grimy.
In Tarkov, you don't level up and get the gun isn't magically stronger. The bullets are what's different.
Right.
And even the bullets, the quote unquote better bullets have trade-offs. They penetrate armor better, but they're more likely to ricochet off a helmet or off a surface, and they do less damage to flesh because it's a hollow point round hits your body and
right.
salsas you. But if it's a tungsten penetrator, it just punches a small hole through you.
Right, in real life.
Kung Pao.
Yeah. It's sort of it's sort of like in real life how if there wasn't if we invented just and then we invented bullets that glow a little bit blue and they just do the damage of 2 bullets. Well, that'd be the only kind of bullet,
Right.
wouldn't it?
Right, exactly.
There has to be trade-offs. Tarkov, that's a very bold move to make in video games, not just making the upgrades direct upgrades.
Mm-hmm.
I always prefer games like that when you can pull it off.
No, yeah. It's at this point, it's been in development for so long, it's never going to come out. But it's just this big teetering mess of stuff, and there's all this stuff, and it's going to take I don't know, because everybody Bungie, your brother, some of our friends were so addicted to Destiny 1, that's they just what they did for a couple months.
Yeah.
No blinking,
Nick should have gone to a hospital.
He had
Literally,
bed sores in his chair.
Literally passed out in his chair with the PlayStation controller in his hand. Wake up! Oh, it's time for Destiny.
I think I'll have it again.
This is sort of mean and revealing. There was a time where there were just 2 scars on either of his elbows from the bed sores he had from where they were resting on the arms of his chair while he played Destiny for 36 hours.
Yeah, so that game wasn't for me like that, but obviously it was a hit for some people.
Oh yeah,
it slapped.
I mean, Bungie is enough of a name even still that I think people will take a look at it regardless.
Yeah, they get respect.
I remember when Destiny came out, it was the sickest shit in the world because it was all right, you're a robot man, and but also this is a shooter, so it's got the first person shooter stuff, but also it's a sci-fi world, and you can ride the jet cycle. What? And then it didn't work at all.
Yeah,
also,
it became something else.
yeah,
Biggest compliment for Destiny is they had good advertising.
great advertising.
Yeah, it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
But they've got this new game. It's coming out. It's called Marathon. My initial reaction is that it looks hideous.
Right.
I saw someone online call it Detergent Core.
Detergent
Oh,
Core.
man.
Oh, made me laugh.
man.
But I don't know. We'll see. I have been waiting for one of the big AAA boys to come and try and take their bite of the pie of the extraction shooter thing. So.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so I don't really enjoy the extraction shooter genre, but okay, rumor has it, word on the street, and I've been speculating on this for a while now. No, I don't talk to anyone in the industry. I don't have any actual insider information. I'm not going to pretend to know that I know what the fuck
None of
I'm
us have
talking
fun
about.
aside from each other.
But
all my information comes to me in dreams.
a lot of times I am pretty good at noticing trends of behavior and piecing those together over long periods of time.
All my information comes from Kevin's dreams. Go on.
I used to be really good about doing Warhammer predictions based on the previous trends and yada yada yada.
Yeah.
So one of the ones that I've been talking about a while is Starcraft is supposed to be getting a shooter.
It was.
They wanted to do
Since
Starcraft.
2002.
They wanted to do Starcraft Ghost. They couldn't figure out if they wanted it to be on PS3 or PS2, and they ended up scrapping it entirely. Right, and then they end up recycling that whole like game concept, and they put it as a bonus campaign in StarCraft 2. It's like Nova Covert Ops. It's really fun. It was cool. I liked it. And they leave it open-ended. They basically say, Nova has her own crew and ship and is kind of an outlaw now. Isn't that cool? Wouldn't that be great for a spin-off? What? So they kind of like teased us with that, right? Saying, okay, we're probably going to go somewhere with this, right? They've done that. And they did have in development a Battlefield-style StarCraft 2 shooter. And then that got fucking scrapped for Overwatch 2, because Overwatch 2 was going to feature PvE. And I was furious. When I heard this,
that's hilarious.
That was the first time I was like, okay, Blizzard, you have wounded me too deep this time.
I think the last original game Blizzard will ever release is Hearthstone.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
It's already over.
They will never make another new video game ever again.
Okay, that's you heard it here first on Scryer's stream. Timestamp it. It is in the year of our Lord.
That's like the
April 16th.
That's the point
2025.
That's the point of Blizzard now, is like all of their development is like, what do we got? We got Classic WoW. What's the point of Classic WoW? Well, we can spend no resources on it and people just keep playing it forever.
Right.
Like that's the point of Blizzard now is how little money can we spend on this thing?
Okay, yeah, I don't disagree. However, additional information being added here, they got bought by Microsoft. Right. Ever since they got bought by Microsoft, things have been changing differently. I've noticed that, like, for example, like
they put biometric scanners on the breast milk fridge.
Hopefully we don't have to worry about that scourge ever
Not to
again.
keep people out, they're just tracking the data.
Yeah, they just have to know.
They just sell it
for hygiene purposes.
Yeah, they're selling the breast milk data.
Fuck, bro.
They got rid of that guy,
but
so it's
point
fine.
being, I recently saw that they put it back in development. Ever since Microsoft took over, and they put it back in development.
I would be stunned to see that.
And
I would be interested.
And the only reason I believe it has a chance of taking off is specifically that is a thing they don't have. Overwatch 2's PvE flopped. They're not doing a PvE shooter. They just straight up said they're not doing. Well, at least not with Overwatch. They scrapped that.
That's exactly what I was going to bring up.
There's still a void for that kind of game for them to do.
But how do I put a battle pass in it?
You fucking skins. It's so low. An asymmetrical shooter in the style of Battlefield with StarCraft is such a low hanging fruit because literally you do the same thing you did in StarCraft 2 with the skins. Like I want to be a what do they call it? A fucking a Kelmorian. I want to be a Kelmorian style Marine. Oh, I want to be one of the Mecha Zerglings. Oh, I want to be like literally you just get skins or even fucking do the bullshit Battlefront card system. And then get like little chests and little cards.
That.
Hopefully they don't do something as toxic as that. Yeah, no, don't do that. But I'm saying there's a billion ways they can monetize this. But I think the big one is skins and cosmetics. Skins and cosmetics.
Right.
Anytime your cash shop gives you skins and cosmetics, but the rest of the game I can just get by playing the game, I don't care. Make your money.
That's what I consider like a good aligned video game.
Yes.
And unfortunately, there's only like 2 of those.
Space Marine 2 did this.
Because
all of the DLC in Space Marine 2 that you have to buy is just cosmetic. I want to look cool and feel special.
Right.
All of the gameplay shit is just free LC. It just comes out.
Fine.
That's how that should work.
That's fine if you do it right. You know how I feel about like WoW Transmog? Yeah. I think that like once you give the player base like enough control, like that level of control over their appearance, everything gets uglier overnight. Like it's people who went to school for art and who work on video games and are artists and stuff hopefully know like that if I put these bits together it looks good, and I don't know that. And so I don't know what looks good.
You're not a designer.
Most people don't know what looks good. Especially most people who play World of Warcraft don't know shit about shit.
Yeah.
Especially what looks good. And so what you get is occasionally there's like, oh, he looks nice. Look at how he put his stuff together. Most of the time it's, oh my god, I'm walking through the city. There was a fucking abomination.
Yeah. Like, it's like a microcosm of the, like... So I'm of the opinion the human animal is supposed to be creative and, like, we should all have, like, creative outlets and stuff. However, I'm also, like, a virulent hater.
Oh.
So, like...
Listen, I'm going to hate on the man until he's broken and got nothing.
Until he's broke, just like me.
Just like me.
Why you got a car or a house? You got 2 cars. That's played out.
It is played out. And they need to know it.
Well, I got 2 cars, man. I only need 1 car.
So,
I
like,
got 2.
Part of me is very much like, no, people should be able to, like, decide how their character looks, even if it looks ugly to me, because, like, my tastes are not a universal, like, determiner of good and like proper, and like I love transmog. That's how I played that game. I just made my pretty outfits for my wizards and pirates and whatnot. And then I would see anyone else looking a little bit off, like I don't like their transmog, and they made a competition of transmog in World of Warcraft. Mm-hmm. It's like a 1 week event where Trial of Style. Yep. And let me tell you, every time that I lost, which wasn't that often, like I said, I make pretty good little outfits for my pirate and my wizard. But every time I lost, I felt an injustice in my heart. I became so toxic. Like
that's one of the things that I'll say. In seriousness, Classic has going for it is, in Classic, I can glance for like half a second at someone and
know how good they are.
And know how good they are.
Yeah. Oh, he's full tier 3. He's a big boy. Yeah.
Whereas if my wizard comes up and it's like, wow, he's got all these like red and gold pieces of equipment that all look really good together, and then like you invite me because you're like, I think one of those is from a raid tier like a couple things back. Maybe he's good at this game, and then I suck. I've still got greens from leveling, sorry. And they're like, what do you mean you have greens from leveling?
Now that I've levied that complaint, the player base has addressed it themselves, I should say. There's add-ons that just hook into the website that tracks how good you are at WoW and spits that out as a tooltip. So you can just mouse over people and see how good they are now in WoW.
Yep.
Oh.
Which is good.
I like that the fix of
remember what I said earlier?
We all
about
get
people min-maxing, ruining stuff?
Yeah.
And then I just talked about how I need to know how good you are so I know if I have to talk to you or not.
Yeah.
So I can tell if you're a person or not.
I was genuinely gonna say like this, like the
I'm completely full of shit.
Yeah. The duality of man. The duality of man.
The difference between my WoW opinions and my RuneScape opinions is I'm good at WoW and I'm bad at RuneScape. There you go.
Yeah.
I just figured that out for myself.
There it is. There it is.
All right. Thanks for listening.
We all did a lot of growing today.
And with that, we're going to end tonight's episode.
Oh, man, we're out of time.
Thank you so much for listening.
Oh, my head is in my hand.
If you enjoy the nature of this podcast, go ahead and give us a like and subscribe on YouTube. You can follow us at Famfare. You can also follow me on Blue Sky at Famfare and support us on our Patreon. With that, have a good night.
Have a good night, everybody.
Nighty-night.